me. And welcome to MATTO'S Box Mania, How to Build Board Game Box, Episode 12, I believe. Summing up. So, we finished the box. After all of these hours, I mean, you know, I've watched through these videos that I've made, and it's hours and hours and hours, and the sound's poor and they're rough. I'm sorry, but we've come through all that. Whether you have or not, I don't know, but if you come straight here, it's great. This is the box we've made, and we just have a little summary of what's happened through it all and a few thoughts. I won't go on for too long with this because, geez, you're sick of me by now, I'm telling you. So, I gave this a final spray with matte varnish to protect all the artwork and that. Let's see where we're at. Now, you remember the problem? I had the problems, didn't I? Of the lid and that, you know, struggling to get it off the base, off the bottom of the box. And already, through just doing it, it's a lot easier. And it will get a lot easier as time goes on. And in 6 months, it'll be pretty loose. Well, it won't be loose, but it will be better again in 6 months. Now, am I happy with it? I am quite happy with it. I'm not ecstatic about it, but I'm happy with it. I don't particularly like the general look of the lid. It needs a border, but I'm delighted beyond measure that I sorted out these problems. Sure, it just looks like damage, and it is damage, but from what I thought initially, and all these sides, I thought I was going to have real trouble doing this, and it's come out way better than I thought. So I'm absolutely delighted with it. Now, it's good to remember that to reach this stage, what we had to go through. If you remember, the first thing, after I did the tools, the first thing that I did was I did the most goddamn awful waffly video about the initial thoughts and the initial workings out of how we're going to put the bits in and is the artwork going to fit. And that bit is really necessary in drawing out the plan. It is, all that stuff is kind of necessary if you want to come and get a result like this where you didn't think you could do it and you've come out with something that's really good. You know, I mean, it's really good. I'm really happy with it. But without all those initial thoughts and the time spent thinking, we wouldn't have got to this. Now, it's probably taken me, I don't know how long to make this. 20 hours? It's a long time. A few evenings. You know. And is it worth it to just make a box that you've reduced the size by half? Is that worth it? Probably not. To most people, they just think, what a waste of time and energy. But to me, it absolutely isn't a waste of time. It makes my life better. I enjoy doing it. It gives me a lift doing it. To see the end result gives me a lift. Now, whenever I play this game, and I do play this game quite a bit because I like it, I will enjoy it so much more because of this. I enjoy it when I'm sat at my dinner table and I look on the shelves and I see it. That brings me joy. Each time I pick it up and handle it, it brings me joy. So is it worth it? For me, absolutely. It brings me so much joy. It doesn't bring anyone else any joy, but it's a personal thing for me. Now, I've got a few notes here scribbled down because I don't want to forget it all. Now, there's one thing I want to mention as well. This is one thing I've forgotten. I should have mentioned it earlier. And about the trouble that I had with the box opening and closing, which was a real trouble, and I didn't expect it to be as bad as this, right? No. But upon closer inspection, I can see a contributing factor, and it's not the only factor. There's many contributing factors. Is these walls here are ever so slightly bent out like that, just all imperceptibly, but ever so tight, ever so slightly, and that's because when I put this crossbar in and this piece in, they just pushed it out just ever so slightly, and I should have been more aware of that. It was maybe a bit tight when I put it in, and I should have been more aware that it wasn't quite so tight. Can't find my ruler here. You know, if I put my ruler on it, I can, there's just a tadding of movement in that straight line, and that's why that's a contributing factor. I just wanted to mention it, and it just goes to show that if you're working to the exact nature that I am, every little bit that's slightly out affects it. It's okay, it works, I get the lid off. But it might be worth, if you're making a box and you work out the size of this bottom bit, and you think, right, I'll make the lid 1 centimetre bigger, like I said, in its dimensions, maybe give yourself another millimetre, 1.1, 1.2, a little bit of play, just to cover your mistakes. Now, I want to point out as well that in the videos you saw me make mistakes. Like that was a mistake that I've done, the bowed wall. You saw me make a mistake when I was doing the gluing and when I was doing the cutting, and I was using my aluminium pieces, and I made some mistakes in it. And just that reiteration of every box I make, I'll learn something. I learned a really good technique while I was doing this one, using the square when I was making the little boxes on the insert. And I'm forever learning. And because I'm ever learning, as I try new things and I make new boxes, I might put new videos. I'm not going to be as prolific with the videos as I have been with this, and I'll try and make them not quite so waffly and long, but I wanted to make them waffly and long, so I got everything in them. It's going to put a lot of people off, I know, but I'm learning. I'm learning how to make videos. I'm learning how to do the sound. I'm learning not just this, in lots of ways. So I'm forever learning, and please bear that in mind when you're watching the things, even though you watch them. And bear in mind that when you're making these things, you're going to make mistakes. You're learning. So don't give up. If you have trouble with something, or you make a crappy box, or something goes wrong, take that in your stride as part of your learning, because you have to muck up in order to improve. It's the way of things. So I'm learning there. Now, I also want to say that I've made a board game box here. Board game boxes. I love saying that, as you know. Maybe you don't. But you've learnt more than just making board game boxes here. You've learnt just how to make a box. Now, the basicness of this box, just the shell of the bottom and the shell of the lid, and with it covered, not painted, you'd probably make that in a couple of hours. Do you know? Get to that point, 2.5 hours at a time, and you can make a box. You don't have to do all the coverings and all the inserts, just a box. you've learned how to make a box. And boxes are great for many reasons, especially if you make specific boxes. You might want to make boxes for a set of tools you have. You might want to make it for a set of miniature paints or anything. Just the fact that you can make a box is great. I've been asked to make boxes, plain boxes, for various things. I've been made one as like a, you know, not quite a jewellery box, but you know, a mementos box, and a box for people to keep memories in and photographs and things like that, or even important paperwork, because these boxes are really strong. You know, it's not a wooden box, but these boxes are really strong, and you can make them to exactly what you're looking for. You know, it's very easy. It's not like making a wooden box where you need carpentry skills and tons of tools. You don't need tons of tools. And I'll point out, you know, with the tools I've got, especially this kind of setup, you don't need all that. It's good if you do, but find your own ways. My way is my way. Find your own ways. You know, and again, if you're making boxes, you could wrap them up in a nice paper. You know, you could get some really nice glossy wrapping paper and or something with a nice design and make just really nice boxes. You know, if you look at life, the amount of nice boxes around, especially, you know, when you're getting things like jewelries or I don't know, just anything that's meant to be slightly fancy, quite often they come in a nice box and you can make these things. So you've learnt more than just, it goes beyond board gaming, and it's a great skill. And then, you know, you've also got to remember that this is a strong double thickness lap jointed box. You could make a big single skin box like I did with the little ones. You could make a single skin box, I don't know, probably in half an hour, not even that, and it would still be pretty durable. So, you know, just remember that, of how many skills we've learned. What else to say? I suppose one last thing I could say, this is just talking out of the box here. On the last videos that I made about cutting up the old box and putting this on here, just to make it clear, that took me 5.5 hours to do. I started at 8:30 and I finished at about 1:30 in the morning. 5.5 hours to cut up the old box and put this on. That's an awful long time, but I needed that to get it as nice as I did. I could have just hacked it out, and sometimes this was a particularly hard box. Sometimes if you get an easy box, you know, where you're not reducing this footprint, but you're just reducing this footprint, and the sides are a nice size on the original box, wouldn't take anywhere near that long. It's because I had a lot of things that I needed to think about on this, so that took so long. So if you have any comments or ideas or ways you think I might do better, stick that in the comments. Don't be sarky, don't say, oh well, get your sound better, or stop waffling so much, because Jesus, no one wants that. But if you have constructive thoughts or constructive ideas, I'd be interested in hearing them, you know. And I'm sorry for the length of the videos and my waffliness, and especially potentially bad sound and the bad production and things like my phone ringing. But I don't know a lot about technology. I'm a countryman, and I'm not good with technology, so you have to forgive me with that. The fact I'm doing this is amazing enough as it is. And I really hope that you've got something out of these videos and learned something. And if you have, that makes me so happy. If only one person learns something that enhances their life a bit, whether it's making the box or whether it's how to sharpen a pencil, I'm delighted. So that's the end of this series. I'll keep making videos of boxes I've made, and I will keep making videos of future boxes that I make, especially if I get new techniques and new ideas. And I might try and do a series that isn't quite as long as this, it's a bit more comprehensive. So I will finish with a goodbye. It's been very nice to meet you. And goodbye. Thank you. And maybe I'll see you again. Goodbye.